What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. And in this video, I'm just going to do a quick recap of the Week 12 games. A lot of good games happened this weekend, and I'm going to just get right into it. I'm going to start at the top. Georgia against Kentucky. This was a close game, guys. Georgia struggled offensively in this game. Stetson Bennett just didn't look himself this game. Kentucky did a pretty good job defensively. They held Georgia to their lowest, points per game, uh, this season. Georgia is normally scoring in the 30 to 40 range, and they're averaging about 40 points a game. And Kentucky did a phenomenal job defensively in this game, but they just couldn't get it going offensively. Of course, Georgia has one of the best defenses I've seen this season, probably the best defense. They was able to stop the run. And I'm going to just click on the stats real quick. Like I said, Georgia won the game 16-6. Georgia had a good day rushing the ball, though. They had 247 total yards or rushing yards. Like I said, Stetson Bennett only threw for 116 yards, had an interception, and just struggled, offensively on the road, but Georgia's run game, kept them in the game and playing good defense. So that was their bread and butter. Keenan McIntosh had a good day on the ground. He rushed for 143 yards, and Georgia just won the game. Controlled the pace, and never felt like they was in trouble. It just, they never pulled away. But still the number one team in the country. They're 11-0 right now, and it's up to them whether or not, they control their own destiny, basically what I'm saying. And definitely the number one team in the country. Going against that Georgia defense is hard to do. Any team is going to struggle against that, defense. Offensively, like I said, Georgia just didn't pick it up, but I expect them to settle down and get it fixed. I think they play Georgia Tech next week, so yeah, they should look better. Definitely fix the problems that they have offensively. I've noticed that they, kind of turn the ball over a little bit every game as well. Definitely need to fix that going forward. Cost a turnover can cost, a game, but for the most part, Georgia's defense has been playing good, lights out all season. So it's good to lean on that defense when you're in trouble, when you're struggling offensively. So Georgia got the win, looked good. Kentucky, like I said, I think this is their fifth loss now. Will Levis, I think still be, highly not recruited, but drafted, at a good NFL team. He's a good quarterback. He just struggled, this season. But like I said, Georgia's number one team in the country looked good in their victory. Probably would like to score more points, but they'll get it fixed. Number two, Ohio State. It seems like the top four teams struggled, this Saturday. Ohio State played against Maryland. Maryland was in the game against Ohio State. I think at one point it was 33-30. Maryland was right there with them. And I think Ohio State, they scored a field goal, and then they had a turnover. One of the D linemen, I think, was able to get to Talia Tungvaloa and made him drop. Well, he didn't drop the ball. It kind of deflected, and then he was able to catch it, and then he ran it in. So the score ended up being 43-30. The game wasn't that close, guys. I mean, it wasn't, Ohio State didn't run away with this game. This game was close all the way through. Ohio State just, I think this is the most points they gave up to, to any team. Maryland's able to get 30 on them. And like I said, the game was close at the end. Maryland could have almost pulled this off. Booker, he had a good day. He had 82 yards. Hayden, he had 146 yards and 3 touchdowns. So Ohio State was able to get 160 on the ground. That's very good. C.J. Stroud, he threw for 241. So they was able to get their yardage. It just, they struggled. They was giving up too much yardage to Maryland. Talia, he had a great day. He threw for 293 yards for 2 touchdowns. So Ohio State, I know, would like to clean that up, defensively, on the back end to not give up that much passing yards. But they struggled with Maryland, and Ohio State has been struggling with teams, ever since Notre Dame, and they struggled with Northwestern, Iowa. Offensively they've been struggling, but they still find a way to win games, and they got the victory against Maryland. And I can definitely see them as the number one. I mean, number two team right now. Um, they just consistently win. And on next note, I'm gonna talk about Michigan. They struggle with Illinois. Um, that was a tight game. I think Blake Corum got injured in the game. He went out. I'm not sure what his injury was, but hopefully they can get him back to speed. He had 108 yards and a touchdown on the game. J.J. McCarthy, he passed for 208 yards. So Michigan was able to still get 168 on the ground. So they did a good job, but Illinois was right there with them. There was another game, that was a nail biter for both teams. DeVito, he passed for 178 yards. C. Brown for Illinois had a great day. He had 140 yards for 2 touchdowns. So like I said, this was a game, another close game, but Michigan was able to pull out the victory. Going to be very interesting this week. Michigan versus Ohio State. This is going to be a must-watch game. And the winner of this game is going to get in the playoffs, definitely. And it's going to be interesting to see what the committee does with the team that loses. You have 2 teams that haven't lost yet. And what are they going to, how they're going to look at each team, depending on how the game goes. I imagine if one team just completely blows out the other one, I think that losing team will fall out the top 4. But it would be interesting if it's a close game. What is the committee going to do? Are they going to get 2 Big Ten teams in there this year? I could definitely see that, because you got these 2 teams, they're both undefeated, and depending on how close it will, the game will be, if it were to happen that way, you might be looking at 2 big teams possibly in the playoffs this season. Number 4, TCU, another close game. Baylor was right there. Baylor looked like they had the lead at one point, but TCU got a last field goal off. They did it very, very fast, guys. And for that guy, you got to give all props to TCU's kicker to be able to do that under that amount of pressure. And they pulled the upset off. I mean, it's not an upset, but it seemed like it was going to be an upset if Baylor had won. But TCU was able to get out of there with a victory. And it was another close one, And like I was saying, all top 4 teams struggled today. And it's getting rough, because everybody's trying to play for a spot in the playoff. And what can you say about TCU? They continue to find a way to win. A lot of people doubt them, but they continue to win. They find ways to win, and they're a tough team. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. They still have to. I'm not sure who they play this week, but they played that opponent. Then they got to play the Big 12 championship. So I would imagine if TCU wins out, they're definitely going to be in the playoffs. So it's going to get interesting. Shocker, number 5, Tennessee loses to South Carolina. Spencer Rattler had a massive day, guys. And I did the individual video about this game, but I'm going to just go back on it. Spencer Rattler passed for 438 yards, guys, with 6 touchdowns. Tennessee's secondary completely just failed them. South Carolina was able to do whatever they wanted to do. All the players was able to get involved. Jaheim Bell had 82 yards. I mean, everybody just went off. Antoine Wells Jr. had a massive day, 177 receiving yards. He didn't get a touchdown, but Josh Vann had 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Brooks, 56 yards, touchdown. Jaheim Bell, 39 yards, 2 touchdowns. Juju McDowell, 18 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, South Carolina could not be stopped, last night. And I'm going to be honest, I think if anybody had played that South Carolina team last night, it just seems like they just had something that night. Was able to upset number 5, Tennessee. I know Tennessee fans are upset about the loss. I mean, and then Hendon Hooker got hurt in the game, but he did pass. He had a good day. He passed for 247 yards, 3 touchdowns. So Tennessee was fighting, but they just didn't have an answer for South Carolina. Jabari Small had a good day. He had 80 yards and a touchdown, but they just could not get things going. Cedric Tillman returned. He had 81 yards for 2 touchdowns. Princeton Fant had 57 yards of touchdown. Brew McCoy had a touchdown with 19 yards. It just Tennessee just couldn't keep up with South Carolina, and that's hard to say because Tennessee's the team that's normally outscoring everybody, but South Carolina made some key stops. They was able to stop Tennessee at times and able to outscore Tennessee. And that's how you got to beat Tennessee. You got to be able to outscore them. And South Carolina definitely did that and able to pull off a huge upset. And I didn't see this coming. I thought for sure Tennessee was going to win this game, but that's what makes college football so fun to me because you have to you got to be on your game every week. You can lose to anybody in college football, especially in the SEC. SEC is very, very tough. And we just beat up on each other. And you have to play each and every week, and that's just in college football in general. Every conference is tough, especially when you're bouncing off each other. Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, all these conferences are tough. And, you just have to be on your A game. You got to play. And I know Tennessee's going to fall. I just don't know how far they're going to fall. But this was a huge victory for South Carolina. And you hate it, if you're a Tennessee fan to lose this. You was right there. And if Tennessee had won out, they definitely would have been in the playoffs, I feel. But it seems like that's over at this point. But Tennessee had a good season. Second year on Josh Heupel, he's done a lot. And I look for Tennessee to build on this, but I expect South Carolina to build on this as well. South Carolina upset a lot of people this season. They beat Kentucky. They beat Texas A&M. Now they beat Tennessee. South Carolina's always been that team to upset people. They upset my Tide back in 2010. I think they upset Georgia a couple years back. So South Carolina's always played spoiler, and once again they play spoiler again against Tennessee. But a huge victory for South Carolina. I'm gonna move on to number 6. Yeah, LSU beat UAB 41-10. LSU team that's greatly improved, and they're going to play Texas A&M this week. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens in that matchup. And then, of course, they already punched their ticket to go to Atlanta to play against Georgia. That's gonna be an interesting game. A lot of people don't think LSU might have a chance in that game, but if Georgia play like how they did against Kentucky, LSU could possibly, be in the game. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm going to do a prediction on that game, and I'll give my prediction, once it gets closer to it. But like I said, LSU got the win against UAB. Southern Cal beat UCLA 48-45. Close one. Very, very close game. Probably could have went either way. I'm going to look at Caleb Williams' stats. I think he had a record day. Yeah. Caleb Williams threw for 470 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a bad dude right there. UCLA quarterback Thompson Robinson, yeah, he threw for 309 with 4 touchdowns. So both teams were playing, both quarterbacks had a great day passing the ball. Southern California, A. Jones, he had a good day on the ground, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Caleb Williams had a touchdown. Barlow had a touchdown. Yeah. Jordan Addison, former Biletnikoff winner, 178 yards, 1 touchdown. This guy's a beast. I wish so bad that he had a King of Alabama, boy. We'd probably be in a different predicament right now. But great wide receiver. Ford, he had 73 yards and a touchdown. So basically, Caleb Williams lit UCLA up, but UCLA had some passing yards on him as well. Let me see. Charbonnet had a good day on the ground, 95 yards. Thompson Robinson, though, he just was the guy for UCLA. He had 81 yards with 2 touchdowns. And like I said, passed for 309. So that guy's that dude for UCLA. They almost pulled off the upset. It was very, very close. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with, USC. What happens, they play Notre Dame next week. So Notre Dame is playing spoiler as well. Notre Dame got some victories, some good victories this season. So they beat Clemson. So USC is going to definitely have to watch out for Notre Dame. And then if they win out, they played Pac-12 champion. I'm not sure. Is it going to be Oregon? I'm not sure, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the Pac-12. And I think this will be the year the Pac-12 can get in the playoffs, if they win out. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Who else played? Yeah, Alabama beat Austin Peay. I expected Alabama to beat Austin Peay. Didn't look good at first, but Alabama picked it up. Like I said, my problem is still with the team overall, penalties and all that stuff. Alabama's just doesn't have it this year. They're not disciplined enough in my opinion, and definitely need some changes done as far as the coaching and players. I think we need to get some guys in there that understand the standard and try to turn this program back to where it used to be. Since like the last couple of years, we kind of fell off defensively, and offensively, we came in the season, supposed to be clicking on all cylinders, and it seemed like we regressed from even last season. So, you know, definitely Alabama has some things we need to work on, and we have a game against Auburn this week, and hopefully we can get the victory against Auburn. We know Auburn is our in-state rival, and they're going to play us hard. But hopefully we can pull it off. We got the game at home, so hopefully Alabama can finish off the season strong. Hopefully. But I got faith in my Tide. I think we'll get it. But we'll have to see what happens in the game this Saturday. Clemson beat Miami. Like I said, Miami team just great disappointment this season. I thought Tyler Van Dyke and that team would probably potentially win the ACC, and just hasn't been that. Clemson struggled early, but let me click on the stat. Let me look at DJ Uiagalelei. Yeah, he passed for 227 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's getting by. He definitely hasn't, in my opinion, hasn't lived up to the hype. Of being that guy for Clemson. Like I said, he struggled. He's getting better, but I think at this point, I think he's just doing just enough to get by. Like I said, they got a guy right behind him that's good in Klubnik, but Dabo's going to play DJ. That's his guy, and he's getting the job done despite maybe not doing it in the way people want it done, but he's getting the job done. He rushed for 89 yards and had a touchdown, so he threw for 2 and ran for 1, so he had a great day. Will Shipley had 61 yards and a touchdown. Kobe Pace, he had 7 yards and a touchdown. So Clemson continues to win out. Now, I don't know where Clemson stands as far as getting in the playoffs. I don't know if they're still in the mix. They still might be in the mix because it depends on what the committee decides to do, because at that point you will have maybe, of course, you have Georgia. If they win out, then you'll have the winner of the Big Ten. A Pac-12 champion might get in there. The ACC might get, Clemson might be able to get in there if they win out. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, though. But Clemson got the victory 40-10. Oregon beat Utah 20-17, a close game. Oregon, I think, has 2 losses. I know they lost to Georgia. Yeah, they lost to Georgia, and then they lost to – who did they lose? I can't remember who they lost to. Let me see. Yeah, they got 2 losses, but they was able to beat a good Utah team. Utah was a team that got a lot of hype, before the season started. And a lot of people was thinking they was going to win the Pac-12. But Oregon won the game. Bo Nix threw for 287 yards. I know he was questionable for the game, but I see he played in the game. He threw an interception, but he got 1 touchdown. Irvin, he was able to get a touchdown. He had 20 yards. But Thornton had a great day. He had 151 yards. But Franklin, he was able to get a touchdown. Like I said, it was a close, low-scoring game. Defensive game between the 2 teams. Cameron Rising, let me see. He was able to get 170 yards. Like I said, yeah, both teams played really, really good defensively. You don't see that too often in the Pac-12. Pac-12 is known for scoring a lot of points, but Oregon got the victory. Josh, my memory, who second Oregon lost to, but was it UCLA? I think it was UCLA, yeah. But Oregon got the victory against Utah. And I'm not sure what happens in the Pac-12. I think Oregon is going to play UCF if they were to win out. I think Oregon is in the north and Southern Cal is in the south of the Pac-12 division. But I'm not sure. Did they do away with the divisions? I'm not sure. But it's going to be interesting to see what the Pac-12 championship and who's going to get in there. Penn State beat Rutgers 55-10. I expect Penn State to do that. Rutgers is not a good team in the Big Ten, and Penn State won comfortably. Georgia Tech beat North Carolina 21-17, another low-scoring game, but Georgia Tech going into the matchup against Georgia, with a win. North Carolina team that's been up and down, but they was ranked number 13, so Georgia Tech upset North Carolina. That was shocking to see, but Georgia Tech got the victory. Another shocker, Arkansas beat Ole Miss at home. Now, they was at home, and this game to me I thought it was going to be close. I picked Ole Miss to win, but Arkansas just came out swinging, guys, beating them 42-27. This got to be, they had to set a record rushing wise for both teams in this game, guys. I'm going to read off the stats. Arkansas, they rushed for 335 yards rushing offense, guys. Raheem Sanders had 232 by himself, and he had 3 touchdowns. KJ Jefferson had 47. So Arkansas was able to rush for 335 yards, guys. But here's the kicker. Even though Ole Miss lost the game, Ole Miss rushed for 463 yards, guys. Judkins got 214 by himself, and Zach Evans was able to get 207. That's insane. Arkansas could not stop the run against these guys, but Arkansas won the game, and that's shocking. They won it big, too. Arkansas came out. Sam Pittman's doing a good job with Arkansas. Ole Miss has Lane Kiffin. He's a great offensive mind and able to scheme up this team the way he does. And, boy, 463 yards, that's crazy. Them both teams had to set a record for, like, rushing yards in a game between two SEC opponents. That's crazy, but that was insane. But Arkansas won big against Ole Miss, and bringing momentum to the program. Like I said, Sam Pittman is a good guy. I like him as a head coach. He's done a phenomenal job, and he's turned that program around. Not sure what Lane Kiffin's going to do at Ole Miss. I heard they gave him a big, contract to try to retain him, because rumor is that Auburn's trying to get him, and maybe trying to go somewhere else. But if I was Ole Miss, I'd try to hold on to Lane Kiffin. He's a good head coach and a good offensive mind to have as a head coach. Kansas State beat West Virginia 48-31. Like I said, Kansas State's ranked, 15. Pretty good team. Adrian Martinez over there. I'm not sure if he played in the game. Let me click. Yeah, Howard played for him. I guess I'm not sure what's going on with Adrian Martinez. I don't know if he's injured or not, but Howard had a good day. 294 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Giddens, he had a touchdown. Deuce Vaughn had 67 yards on touchdown. Giddens had 78. So they was able to get 3 rushing touchdowns and 2 pass touchdowns. So Kansas State beat a West Virginia team. Didn't play this game. Green played for West Virginia. He threw for 204 yards with 3 touchdowns. So the matchup, I figured, Kansas State would win. Washington beat Colorado 50-47. Colorado's not a good team. Washington continues to, win. They're currently ranked 9-2. So having a good season for Washington, and they was able to get the victory there against Colorado. Who else played? Notre Dame beat Boston College 44-0. Like I said, going to the matchup against USC. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in that matchup. A lot of things been going down in college football. And some kind of way Notre Dame beat USC, that helps everybody right behind USC. I know we're currently number 8. USC is number 7. So if USC was to lose, boy, that would greatly help LSU to move up, and potentially LSU can get in the playoffs. But Notre Dame, they're doing a really good job right now. It seems like they got it together right now, and they're playing up to the standards that they've been playing, in previous seasons. So Notre Dame definitely a team to look out for. They got a huge matchup against USC. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Florida State beat Louisiana 49-17. Another team, Florida State, is on the rise. I think they're doing good. Mike Norvell's doing a good job at Florida State. Definitely a team I'm going to be watching going forward. Navy beat UCF, 17-14. Gus Malzahn didn't get the victory over there. Like I said, it was a low-scoring game. But that was interesting to see that Navy was able to beat UCF. UCF had that one season where they was really good, 2017. They even proclaimed that they was the champs, college football champs. But yeah, ever since then they haven't been really that good. And I expect Gus Malzahn to do some things. He got Plumlee over there. Let me click on the game. What did Rice Plumlee do? Yeah, he threw for 107 yards, and then King came in, got 123 with a touchdown. So yeah, they just weren't able to run the ball, and yeah, they only rushed for 84 total yards. So, but they took loss against Navy. Navy plays team stuff. Uh, who else played? Oklahoma got the victory against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State just after their losses, they just haven't been that good. And it was a much needed win for Oklahoma. They won the in-state rivalry. Look at the stats real quick. Yeah, Dylan Gabriel, he had a great day. 259 yards total passing yards for 2 touchdowns. Eric Gray had 90 yards and a touchdown. Dylan Gabriel even ran one in for 30 yards. So Drake Stoops had a great day. 89 yards receiving with 1 touchdown. Marvis Mann had 68. Jalil Farouk had 30 yards and a touchdown. So great win for Oklahoma. They needed it. They need to get momentum going in that program. It's great to always win your in-state rivalry games. And like I said, Oklahoma State is a good team, and Oklahoma was able to pull off the victory. Like I said, with time, Oklahoma's going to be a beast. I'm telling you guys, they got Brent Venables over there, a great defensive-minded coach. I expect them to get better, guys. It's just his first season. And I think when things settle down for Oklahoma, Oklahoma's going to be a beast, and they're going to be a contender. I'm telling you guys. Definitely watch out for Oklahoma. Oregon State beat Arizona 31-7. Louisville beat North Carolina State 25-10. Cincinnati beat Temple 23-3. Like I said, a lot of good games. Mississippi State beat their small school 56-7. Mississippi State got to play Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl. That's going to be an interesting game. I'm going to do a prediction on that game. Wisconsin beat Nebraska 15-14. Low-scoring game. Just both of those programs are just struggling right now. And I think both of the teams are looking for a head coach right now. Both teams need a head coach over there to try to turn their programs around. Pitt beat Duke 28-6. Purdue beat Northwestern 17-9. A lot of low-scoring games. Vanderbilt beat Florida. Shocking. Vanderbilt is doing a pretty good job, guys. They turned that program around. The guy at Vanderbilt, the quarterback, Wright, Mike, I think his name Mike Wright. This guy should have been playing all season. As soon as they made the quarterback change, Vanderbilt just went to a whole new level. He only threw for 108 yards, but he had 3 touchdowns. R. Davis, he had 123 yards on the ground rushing. So Vanderbilt is looking really good right now, guys, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the matchup against Tennessee. I know Tennessee just came off this loss. Tennessee better play their A game because Vanderbilt is playing spoiler. They beat some teams that normally they wouldn't beat. They beat Florida just then, Saturday, and then they beat Kentucky last week. So if some kind of way Vanderbilt pull off a victory against Tennessee, that would be crazy. That's going to be a game I'm definitely going to watch. That's going to be interesting. But I think Tennessee going to bounce back. But that's going to be a game to watch. You never know what happens in the SEC. Like I said, Texas A&M beat their team 20-3. Who else? Washington State beat Arizona. Like I said, a lot of games. Texas beat Kansas. They lost to Kansas last year, so that's a huge win for Texas to be able to beat Kansas. And Kansas was no slouch this year. Kansas is a pretty good team this season. Texas beating them 55-14. Quinn Ewers, he only passed for 107 yards and 1 touchdown, but Bijan Robinson had a great day on the ground, 243 yards with 4 touchdowns on 25 attempts. Beast of a player, one of the best running backs in college football. Junter Brooks had a good day as well, 108 yards with 2 touchdowns. So basically, Texas just completely ran all over Kansas. Was able to get 427 yards total offense, rushing yards. That's crazy, guys. Like I said, Ole Miss had over 400 yards rushing against Arkansas, but they lost the game. Texas got 427 against Kansas. I mean, wow. Just giving up a lot of rushing yards. That's crazy. Who else played? Um, Iowa beat Minnesota 13-10, low scoring game. Auburn won against Western Kentucky 41-17. Um, California beat Stanford 27-20. Uh, who else won? Texas Tech beat Iowa 14-10. Missouri 45-14. Yeah, for the most part, Wake Forest beat Syracuse 45-35. Close game, but Wake Forest was able to pull out the victory. Both of those teams were ranked, early on in the season, and they've since fallen. But good game between those two, and that's pretty much it, guys. A lot of craziness went down in Week 12. Like I said, the top 14 struggled, but they was able to get their victories, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward. We're getting on the tail end, and getting to the point where we're going to find out who's going to get in the playoffs. But that's all I have for today. You guys, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely be back with more college football content. Thanks, guys, and roll tide.